Scott, you're telling me that there's some news about a potential new remaster from Activision.
It seems so. Now it seems...
I mean, you know the one that Peter's going to want it to be.
There's a certain small...
I mean, if we even mention the words, he'll go absolutely ape. We should just try and avoid saying anything about Spyro.
What? Spyro? Oh my god!
Hey, Peter.
Hey.
Oh, hey, how's it going? There's been some developments, my friend.
Really?
Kinda, but not maybe necessarily to warrant that much excitement, but we do have some movement on the remastered Spyro front.
Oh my god.
So you know how Crash did really, really well?
Crash did even better than I think Activision thought it was going to do.
Apparently it was the best-selling game in June, from what I've heard.
Yeah, it beat GTA, right?
So, I mean, they're thinking about doing some more remasters. And Scott's got some quotes, which might make you feel very happy.
Oh god, see, okay, hold on.
I like quotes from Activision about remasters.
I like
Me
quotes.
too.
I like
I thought
quotes
we were
from
going to talk
Scott.
about something else
Yeah, me
first, but don't
too.
worry about it, it's alright. So Activision's Eric Hirshberg, Activision's Eric Hirshberg, who's the publisher boss over at Activision, funnily enough, he did an earnings call and he talked about how overwhelming Crash was and that they have more IPs in mind. They said that they were blown away by the sales figures. And the specific quote, Crash has surpassed all our expectations by a pretty wide margin. We think we have other great IP in our portfolio that we're considering, of course. I think you can be confident that there will be more activity like this in the future with more great IP. Now, the bit where this gets narrowed down to... Yeah, it's not today.
Why can't it be now?
It can't be tomorrow, whatever. So yeah, the point that the bit where this gets really interesting is that IP is always a separate franchise. And so you've already looked into some different IPs that
this thing,
have.
we were talking about it before, of what we would like to see remastered next. And obviously Crash Team Racing is up there.
Yeah.
But obviously the fact that he said new IP means that they're probably going to be looking at their back catalogue. So what I did is I went through to Wikipedia, the font of all knowledge, and basically looked at Activision and their most noticeable releases from the 1980s all the way to the present day.
And individual IP, so individual franchise. That's why this isn't for Crash Team Racing, assumedly.
Yeah.
So that
Right.
wouldn't be.
So what we're going to try and do is just go through a few of them and just see, which ones
Yay or
we'd
nay.
like. Yeah, yay or nay.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah, oh, whoa! But
I would do that, but I can't.
but they don't own all of these IPs still. So apologies if I say something out that somebody is going to be like, oh, they don't own, for example, I know they don't own Spider-Man at the moment because that's with
Sony.
Well, yeah, Sony are making it.
Yeah. So I don't know if they own.
They didn't buy, it's like a weird
this thing, I don't,
handheld.
this thing, I don't know this.
This is what, it's confusing.
It's not as exclusive as something like Crash or Spyro.
Yeah.
So excuse me.
Which is why it probably is Spyro.
Notable games from the 1980s. We have Fishing Derby. Probably not gonna. Boxing.
You might want to jump ahead like 10 years.
I'd say, well, you never know because they've got one here. Which
Go
is, Pitfall.
Remaster. They already brought that back once.
Unlikely.
Transformers.
But would they maybe they don't own the rights? Well, as we say, we don't know. It's very confusing knowing who owns what nowadays.
It does say 1986 to present, but I don't know if that
maybe they have the game rights as opposed to the film.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll skip all of the 80s then because there's probably a lower chance of that happening.
Yep.
Let's go to the 90s. Quake.
We already know that's coming back through id Software.
Yeah, that's it.
Sin. Vigilante 8. The driving car shoot 'em up game.
Vigilante?
Vigilante. This is how I say it.
The longer we go and the more bullshit franchises we hear, the more confident I'm getting that it's going to be Spyro.
The whole point of this video is that it has to be Spyro.
Stay with me. There might be other ones. Tenchu. That would be wicked.
No, Tenchu is from Software. Unless they...
Is it really?
Yeah.
They bought that?
It was always theirs.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, it says here that
Unless I'm just wrong.
It says that Wikipedia says that it's Activision.
But published by From Software, or
FromSoft definitely had a hand in Tenchu, and because Hidetaka Miyazaki's been asked about bringing back Tenchu amongst all the Dark Souls stuff,
and then just
whatever. Yeah, and then they never got around to getting another one.
That's a shame. So I would have liked to have seen that, but
Stealth Assassin.
I know that the last one was terrible, but they still obviously own Tony Hawk's.
Tenchu Z.
No. I was saying Tony Hawk's was the one I was talking about. I mean, they still own that. I mean,
they might want to like remaster.
He's not
Pro Skater 2 or...
I mean, they've got Star Wars Jedi Knights, Jedi Knight 2 apparently.
I really like Jedi Academy. That's one of my favourite Star games.
Star Wars is very active.
They have Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. Obviously, they've got the Call of Duty ones. They've got True Crime.
All very active.
Yeah.
Gun.
Gun was okay.
It was all right. They've obviously got Guitar Hero and DJ Hero,
which came back and died about a year
ago. The thing about Gun is
Gun
would not compete with Red Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, true. So the only other one here, besides Crash Bandicoot, is Spyro the Dragon. That's from the 1990s and 2000s. That one, and the last ones are Blur, Singularity, Skylanders, which is obviously still ongoing, GoldenEye 007 Reloaded, Destiny, and NASCAR the game.
And if we narrow those down to just talk about which IPs are valuable in the light of Crash, it has to be Spyro.
Surely.
There is nothing else.
I thought you were going to have many more interesting names in that list. I'm pleasantly surprised by the lack of competition for them bringing back Spyro.
I'm excited for you because I know you love this franchise
so much.
like a lot, an unhealthy amount.
Yeah,
you've
probably.
shed more tears than you'd like to have admitted.
You've played it since you played it as a kid, which is way more than I've done.
I still play it all the time.
There you go.
Spyro 1 and 2. I played Spyro 3 recently and only completed it like for the first time ever. Because actually, my Spyro 3 knowledge and experience isn't anywhere near my Spyro 1 and 2.
Right, okay.
Yeah, 3's the one where I think a lot of people dropped off. Like 1 and 2.
They brought in a bunch of other playable characters which were okay, but controlled a bit clunky. I don't think you could play as Hunter in Spyro 3, that was a bit later on. But Sheila the kangaroo and
the penguin
Sergeant Bird.
Yeah, Sergeant Bird.
This is the depth of Spyro knowledge there. It's truly impressive, but
the thing is, like, we've seen Activision and Vicarious Visions do a fantastic job with the Crash remaster. All of our sort of like, trash talking aside.
I'll take it all on. I've sold it. I'm done.
This thing, I'm still really, really enjoying that trilogy. So it just shows that if enough love and care goes in from making something from the ground up and possibly revamping a few gameplay things
here and there
to make it consistent throughout, I am so on board for Spyro the Dragon. People have been calling out for it. Like people,
it's the next logical thing.
They know. I'm sure they've not put any official statements out on Spyro yet, but they know that everyone wants
haven't. They've said multiple times that they're aware of the demand. In fact, when I forgot the name of the dude. There was a guy that was on an IGN live stream and he was asked about the demand and he was like, we're aware, just keep asking.
I mean, to be fair though, and this isn't to like paint them in a negative light, when have you ever seen Activision turn down money? Like, they love their money. They've got their yearly releases like down to a T. Like, this for them is a cash cow.
Yeah.
The only thing I would be worried about is I would want Vicarious to do, if it got given to Vicarious or whoever was developing it, to do as good as or a better job than they did with Crash. Crash was great. It was really true to the original. I think they did an excellent job. Some of the like side by side, you see these things and it's like you've got that down to like the individual.
It's like it's gorgeous. Yeah. Like the thing that only just kept irking me was that I couldn't land the jumps, and I'm just not wired enough to keep going with it.
I think that's.
It's stunning though.
That being the major complaint, that's probably the thing that that's the lesson learned from this. Yeah. So if anything, at least the controls of potential Spyro remaster would be excellent. But
I was gonna say with Spyro though, like I think it's aged really well. Like even like watching it in motion, like the general because it's not as meticulous a platformer as Crash is.
No.
And like the floaty physics, the way Spyro feels, like all that stuff. All you really need to do is up-res the graphics in theory and get this thing.
I'd say that's probably my only concern actually, is the fact that Spyro is kind of like a minimalist game. There's a lot of stylistic choices that have gone on to hide like graphical limitations.
Yeah, they had that.
Especially in the first one, like the way the draw distance thing, the fact that a lot of the architecture is very angular, so it can hide sort of things like that. I wonder if when they sort of up-res it, if they were to do so, would they change the feel of the game to make it look more realistic? Because we all know that the Skylanders Spyro looks ugly as sin.
I don't think Vicarious have much input on that though, I don't think.
I don't know, but they made a few stylistic choices with Crash, for sure. Like, I know that he looks very true to form, but there was a few differences that were noticed.
The Crash in Sane does not look like the Crash that has been in the Skylanders game, and I think there was like a TV show or a film or something. So hopefully, the Spyro in a Spyro remaster would not look like the horrible Spyro from
Goblin
Skylanders.
Man.
Yeah, I think they would probably try and match it all.
Another thing, because obviously those two franchises have always existed alongside each other, and in Crash and Spyro you could unlock demos for each one in the PS1 version. If you put the code for the Spyro 2 demo into Crash 3, it makes the font change on the main menu.
Yeah.
So they are at least aware on a coding level that Spyro is the thing, and they put something in there for the fans. Everything lines up for this to be Spyro, basically.
I would love to see them potentially do like a crossover world, imagine if
that's what Skylanders is, though. In a way.
They've done that.
Oh, I don't mean it. I don't mean it in that
Yeah,
sense. I mean, like, when you got to say Crash 3 and you'd have the warp room. Imagine having that, but like you played as Crash through one level and Spyro through another, and it was they borrowed each other's things like they did in the Game Boy games, where you went into their other worlds.
Yeah, but then how did the mechanics match up? Like, how can you?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying it's an idea.
It's an idea.
Let's start with just a full-on reskin, and then they can get all more spicy after that.
My only other thing that I would think would be absolutely necessary is to not mess around with the instrumentation on the music too much, which they did do in Sane. They kept all the melodies pretty much identical, but a lot of it was turned into kind of a bit more techie, kind of electronic. And Stuart Copeland's soundtrack, particularly in Spyro 1, is completely like enchanting. I just think it like takes you away to some fairy tale world. And I would want either Copeland just to come back and redo it again.
That'd be amazing.
Or if they weren't able to do that, to just try and match, just like make it nice and crisp rather than like probably whatever bit it was back then. But just match it. It doesn't need messing with.
Because I saw in Insane they pulled some sound samples from Crash's appearance in Skylanders. Right. It's like the most tiniest of things, like the different drum beats and drum sound effects.
Okay.
So they might be able to pull some stuff from Skylanders. But like, obviously you want the feel. Yeah, you want the feel to be Spyro and not Skylanders.
I think my only concern would be Spyro's voice.
I was going to say, do you think they'll do voice acting?
That's a good question.
They will.
Right, and all the dragons that you unlock in Spyro 1.
Some of them very ungrateful.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks, mate.
Yeah, see you later. Oh, thank you for releasing me. Yeah, I don't know how they'd handle that actually. That's a worry.
Not Elijah Wood.
No, not Elijah Wood.
And definitely not that David Spade guy as Sparks.
Oh yeah. Sparks doesn't have a voice in the first three. Well, in the third one, he just sort of goes.
That's fine. I can deal with that. But I do not want David Spade going, oh, you messed up there, champ. Like, fuck you, David Spade. Where's your career at now?
It's like Spyro's version of Navi.
Yeah.
Sort of like, hey, listen.
And that's the news, apparently. So we might have a Spyro remaster. Might.
I would give it an 85% chance.
My money's on boxing, to be honest.
Pitfall?
Boxing.
Just boxing. Literally just two guys boxing, remaster, done.
So yeah, that's all we've got for now. Everything kind of lines up pretty damn well. I'm giving it like an 85-ish% chance. I'm pretty positive. What else is it going to be? It's not going to be a Guitar Hero? Hell no. So no, I'm thinking Spyro. So you guys let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll follow up with any other happenings and news pieces and whatever. I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I've been Peter from WhatCulture.com.
And I've been Jules.
I'll catch you guys in a bit.
So excited.
I know.